Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring another 1 vs 1. Although it's actually going to be several 1 vs 1s, I'm going to be trying something slightly different for this Monday Novice fight. After some people asking for, well, why don't you try and focus a bit, on beginnings? Such, I figured, after some time, well, alright, let's go have a look at it. So I'll be trying something slightly new. I'll be looking at several games, but only about 10 to 5 minutes into them, just to look at the beginnings. What happens in the start? What can you do? I mean, give you some idea, because a start is quite important in competitive fields, and a good start really important. So, and more specifically, I'll be trying to focus on the Americans. And if this goes well, if there's lots of good response, lots of subscribers, lots of comments saying we love this Dane, I'll probably be doing more with a more focus on the other armies. Of course, there'll still be some focus on some looks at them, what the other chap does, but I mean, the focus will be the American beginning. In this fight, we'll be looking at RK-92 Savage, fighting for the 4th Infantry Division, 3rd Regiment, and fooling about 91st Luftlande Division. And in fact, let's get right down to it. What shall be happening here? And I mean, this will be Novice. Of course, there'll also be much more. Of course, Novices I can then show, but of course they won't get their entire game shown. So, no, I hope you're okay with that. Barracks up a bit. I mean, it could be closer to the edge, and of course that's always something I'd like to criticize here. I mean, usually want them as close as the edge as possible. A bit far away, usually also because it's going to be a very nice spot to reinforce from, because usually they'll try and target right next to your headquarters. So in that sense, I mean, having it close to the edge, good job.
Complete, as ordered.
But we are seeing, of course, the rifle start. 2 engineers, probably one of the most standard starts. I mean, it applies both to the Americans and to the Wehrmacht. I mean, 2 pioneers, 2 engineers, whatever. Get over barracks, Wehrmacht quarters, get some infantry out, some boots in the ground. And of course, he goes a bit more aggressively. And there's a bit of, mix up here. He's having both units go towards the point. Not really a good idea. I mean, you might as well, be better to order about, have one here, perhaps one there, or, try to spread out so you don't all focus your efforts in one side of the map. And of course, remember, you can't get off the tactical map. Select the unit, and then while holding down shift, you can queue down orders, so instead of you having to constantly manage them, they'll do it on their own, as long as nothing goes wrong. And now we are seeing Savage shifting towards the east. And also the capping order for the Wehrmacht commander seems quite odd. He's going for only the strategic points there. He's going for the fuel point when he's not going to be connecting, although he's running up some false guns again. Try to ensure your points are connected. Don't have them dangling about too much out in the open. Engineers running out, and good retreat right there, realizing he can't win. Rather than hunting down the pioneers there, the Pioniere. Again, not sure why he's doing it like this over here. It's not really benefiting him one inch at all. And he definitely needs to get those pioneers back right away. We are going to be seeing more riflemen on the way from Mr. Savage. That is good.
Our supply lines
going for the cutoff point there, and again, why did you even then bother with this side if you're not going to be protecting it? And now he's just going for the strategic point. Why not the resources up here? Get the resources close to you, and perhaps go for this one. More riflemen are arriving. Engineers moving out once more, and we are seeing another full squad team out for fooling about. Fooling about. Riflemen moving up, engaging the false grenadiers. What shall the false grenadiers do? Staying to cover, that is good. Although, I mean, when a unit is pulling back like that, one thing to note, they can't fire back. In that case, usually, in particular as the Americans, you want to push the advantage as swiftly as possible. Try and hunt them down, try and get them closer while they're moving. I mean, that's really something you have to be careful as the Wehrmacht, is moving about your false grenadiers, because a good American opponent will use this time to get close with you. And in this case, our K-92 Savage was much too passive. We really should have pushed the advantage when the false gunners were pulling back, gotten up to heavy cover, gotten closer. Now the false gunners are using this, of course, to counter-attack, knowing his opponent, that is Savage, is taking the point, making me easier. I mean, try and keep such things in mind. Securing the rest of the map here. Rifleman over here securing this munition point. More riflemen ready. These getting pushed away by the false gunner presence. MG-42 moving up. But 3 rifleman squads as of yet.
Operation posts report we are losing a sector.
More riflemen moving up, trying to hit from the flanks. That is good. Of course, the MG-42 setting up to cover the flank, but no. Stick to cover. Stick to cover. Oh, MG can actually get it. Quite unfortunate. You might want to retreat now, in particular against Note. His opponent is focusing down his rifle. Again, in those cases, you really want to get out of there swiftly. And there we go, pushing up while the Volkskaners are milling about. Stick to cover, stick to cover. Yes, indeed. And the Volkskaners, of course, are slightly out of cover, although riflemen jumping out, taking losses, not good. Other riflemen setting out to sneak in. MG moving up to do a bit of damage, riflemen pulling up from there. Also might be an idea, you know, when you're up this close to the opponent's base, I mean, you have 50 munitions. Mine here could be great, mine here could be great. I mean, really, here is an excellent spot to mine. Trying to flank about the MG42, a nice maneuver, but problem with fooling about, was moving about his MG42, a nice thing to do as Wehrmacht. That way, your MG42 is not about in the shot window, and he can't really guess it, thus meaning it's going to be much more effective. I mean, an MG that your opponent is not ready for is the best MG. And it really needs to get this rifleman out of here. I mean, retreat, you know when to hold them, know when to fold them. In this case, retreat. I mean, they're going to get shot down. Now, of course, the MG setting up to protect the flank. Much too slow in sort of getting things going. But, yes, good spread here. Good spread, ensuring the MG can't suppress them all. Rifleman here, though, absolutely suppressed. Low health, 2 men. MG getting flanked, forced away. Down to 1 rifleman. He's retreating, of course, bad timing. And executed by the Volkskaners, the 91st Luftlandde, doing alright. And the Luftlandde was actually an air landing division, but after Crete, where such operations were banned, afterwards it was turned into a regular infantry division. It fought somewhere near the Cherbourg Peninsula, with only few actually getting out of that fortress afterwards. Kriegberg's now on the way. Also Kampfkraft Center, but no veterans as of yet. I mean, if you're going to get that, use it. But a bit of resource being floated here, of course. A blow in terms of life, but still he's holding most of the map. And there we go, laying down mines. Although, again, usually you want about here. This is not a bad spot either, and this is also actually a good spot. A bit too slow then. Generally, you want to mine this area first. But taking up position in the building. Pioneers moving in. Not a bad idea. But you are going to need reinforcements for those engineers soon, or they're going to be in trouble. Ooh, Pioneers. Oh, hiccups. Curse you. Curse you. Volkskaners moving out from fooling about. Oh, come on. Ah. MG moving up. That's going to be a problem for the riflemen. They need to get away. Although, I mean, here. Yes, getting a grenade upgrade. I mean, this is really one of the reasons why this building is a bit dangerous to use. I mean, you can position your rifleman up here, lob a grenade. Oh dear. Someone's going to get blasted into bits. Kibbles even. Supply it up. Good. Medic station could also be nice at this stage, but still, supply it good. Perhaps also triage center. Perhaps some replacement troops. Of course, he might just be going for a motor pool pretty swiftly. That could also work, although already RK-92 Savage already has a Kriegberg, but he's not using it. He's floating resources. You tits. There we go. Still, though, I mean, a quick comment on the German play. Much too bloody passive. Interesting enough, he's wiring off this area. Not necessarily a bad idea, but he does need to push on. He needs to take territory. He should not be hanging back, and he shouldn't definitely not be holding an infantryman right there. Vorwärts, Männer. Vorwärts zum Sieg. And all that. Sieg meaning victory in German. Oh, come on. Get moving. You're pinned into your base. Don't just hang about taking points. Well, wiring off too much. But, well, of course, we are seeing RK-92 Savage flanking about. We are seeing Grenadiers. No pack as of yet. You need that Panzerabwehrkanone. Greyhound ready. No? Just the motive. I thought that was a Greyhound. Never mind. Mine's going off somewhere. There. Nicely done, Grenadiers, actually. And again, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, again, you want to sort of mine close. I mean, if he takes it, it can also mean he feels very safe there. And of course, again, mines that sort of hit the safe area is something that can really break the nerve of your opponent if you're lucky. Volksgunners here, they need to be careful again, not standing out in the open. Flamethrower engineers taking up position in the building. Good move there by RK-92 Savage, burning away at the Volksgunners. RK-92 Savage has already pretty much secured map dominance within the 10 minutes. Bunker going up for fooling about. Might be a medic bunker, might go defensive as well. Minesweeper engineers, interesting move, not bad. He hasn't seen a single mine from his opponent, but he's expecting it. And that's always a good thing to expect, because that way you can't be caught off guard. He should have retreated those a bit faster. Engineers with flamethrowers moving up. Volksgunners still in the building again. Get them moving. Los. Pack moving up as well. MG not well positioned there. Greyhound moving forwards. Armored skirts up. Good. You always want the armored skirts up as the first upgrade ever. Rifleman taking losses. I mean, don't leave your troops standing out in the open versus a broadside of a building. That's pretty much a death sentence to your troops. I mean, these riflemen, and note the Volksgunners, they're barely taking any damage. I mean, if you want to fight them, you really have to fight them on your own terms. Fight them where there are fewest windows, preferably behind heavy cover. Otherwise, you do not do that. And that's actually the 10 minutes here. I mean, we can sort of already imagine how this is going, although, of course, Mr. Fooling About might be breaking about. I mean, we saw some pretty good aggression, pretty good attacking from several flanks. Mines, flamethrowers, greyhounds, supply out, motor pool, all that. A pretty standard American start. Of course, some flaws, but still, I mean, this is pretty much what it's all about. Of course, and now we'll be moving on to the next replay to show something slightly different. Moving on to the next fight, we will be seeing a Sipahi fighting Midwinterblut, again the 91st and the 4th Infantry Division, some of the regiments. I mean, this will be like fighting. Wehrmacht quarters up, but he's not the focus here. We are seeing now a free engineer start from Sipahi. Already here, something slightly different. We will still be looking at, in terms, fighting a Wehrmacht opponent. We're also bringing up some Panzer games, so don't worry. But we are seeing some engineers here coming out. What could it be Sipahi's up to? Could he be going for barracks? Could he be going for the weapon supports in the start? But already here he's sort of rushing ahead, but there's nothing to connect the territory for him. Bad move. I mean, usually you want to coordinate such things. He can't. I mean, this point, while it would be his, it won't be connected. He might as well have gone for this first, then gone for this, for example, and then waited for some other unit. Now he's building a weapon support center, which is going to take some time, and while those engineers might have connected that, it's still going to take some time. So again, might have gone for this first, got some munitions that way. In fact, he just continues. Not getting any resources, essentially a waste of time. Very careful about that. And of course, we are going to see a weapon support center start. It's something some novice players do. They sort of work on the basis that a heavy machine gun, my goodness, it's an infantry counter. It's brilliant. It'll save the day. Except, of course, they forget we're not dealing with counters. We're dealing with rolls. Weapon support center sort of give us the idea. It's weapons support. It's support rolls. They need to work with other units. They can't really work well on their own. They need to be part of something else, or they'll get their asses handed to them. MG out here from Midwinterblut. Not a good start either. Again, he's rushing it in on his own, without. Although he is keeping it close to the pioneers, it could have been rushed by riflemen and been knocked out. I mean, this is sort of already a foretaste. I mean, what you usually don't do, and why I'm trying sort of to explain here. In this case, the engineer's getting beaten off. We're seeing a 30 caliber himself. I mean, again, Hats, Mr. Midwinterblut, had some Volksgunners out and caught it. He could actually send that heavy machine gun scurrying back home, and it would have been useless. So in that sense, I mean, it's not to say that Americans shouldn't be getting it, but they definitely should be getting infantry first, then considering weapon support center with a 30 caliber. So that's that. But Volksgunners moving up. We're seeing a second heavy machine gun moving out there for Sipahi. He's certainly taking some territory, but already there again, the sort of lack of connection. The fact that he rushed straight for the fuel point again without connecting them. Well, he's already lacking a bit, and he still hasn't connected this. He still hasn't. What the bloody hell, Sipahi? I mean, this is not a good start. I mean, there's really a lot of flaws in this start. I mean, it's not going to be the worst starts you're going to be seeing. I mean, we'll be sort of focusing them last. They'll be sort of stick to the 5 minutes because, again, I mean, they're the sort of stuff I'm generally sort of, I completely say, okay, I'm not going to be casting that. Never, ever. I mean, besides for this, I suppose. But strategic point there, secured. Jolly good job. Heavy machine gun moving up to support the engineers. Pioneers sort of hiding behind some sandbags, grinning a bit. Oh, they don't have any sandbags, no. Poor Yankees. Come over here, we'll give you some MP40. Anyways, 30 caliber moving up. We are seeing a shrimp marking out for Midwinter Blood. Midwinter Blood could also be a bit more aggressive, but again, the 30 calibers. He could get a sniper to try and dig it out. He could get some more Fultz Grenadiers. That's what I do, try to sort of outmaneuver them with infantry. Get some assault, blitzkrieg grenades, stuff like that. Pioneers and engineers finding out here. Now we're seeing a mortar out. He's of course trying to bomb Midwinter Blood out. How will that work? Probably not too well. In the meanwhile, Pioneers getting pushed off there. They have tried to mine, but sadly did not work. 30 caliber, too much of a threat. But Midwinter Blood definitely too slugging around. In fact, let's just speed this up. Otherwise, I mean, we're not really going to be seeing much, because again, this is also very slow starting again, not necessarily the most entertaining of starts. But mortaring here, although a quick shift there in position, that's good. Bunker going up this early, I recommend being careful with that. I mean, again, get some infantry out. Currently, Midwinter Blood has only 1 infantry unit. Well, 2. Shh, don't tell anyone, but still, you know, Kampfkraft center up, and I mean, again, here's another problem. I mean, I know I'm supposed to focus on the Americans, but really here, I mean, here's a flaw. I mean, usually when you see weapon support, you usually also expect an armored car rush soon after. Midwinter Blood is not preparing for that, and that's going to hurt him as well. Mortar rounds will continue firing. Volkswagen is getting suppressed because for some reason he's attacking right from the front. 3 30 calibers. Schwimmag moving up to sort of hit, getting suppressed. MP40s. MG42 desperately needs to get out of there before the American mortar knocks it out. And there we go. But I mean, note how slow this actually reacts. I mean, again, that's sort of the problem. I mean, you're going to have to have a very slow reacting defense, and as soon as your opponent can keep moving, you're going to be able to do not so much. I mean, that's why you keep infantry to sort of block and sort of help with those things. So really some mistakes here from Sipahi, and again, this is rather why you don't go for the weapon supports in the start unless you're the master of micromanagement, in which case you're probably not going to bother with it either, because those things are more effective. Bunker up, number 2. Again, I wouldn't recommend this many bunkers this early on. And of course now we're seeing a motor pull up. Greyhound on the way, and he hasn't even got his Krieg bags up. Bad Midwinter Blood. Very bad. Schlecht, mein Herr. Very schlecht. Sehr schlecht. Greyhound ready. Upgrades. That is good. And getting another Greyhound. Armor coming about. Nothing to really stop it. No packs. Again, mistake. Only Panzerfaust. Still holding a bit. And of course now the Greyhounds can do more of the fighting. No, and he's actually gone airborne. That is not uncommon, because why? Because usually when you do go for something like this, and that's usually what you more see in the 2 vs 2 games though, you go for airborne or you go infantry to then use airborne infantry or rangers as your elite infantry, essentially your infantry, your main 9 troops. At least he's gotten that right, but again, it's not usually what I recommend. Now Midwinter Blood has gotten his own mortar. Reacting a bit too much. Again, no pack. Why the bloody hell no pack? I mean, this is not really good. And again, 10 minutes through. And yeah, I mean, we saw some things that works here, and rather why it works so well, though, is simply essentially that Midwinter Blood is being much too bloody passive, not aggressive enough, not trying to push Sipahi. Of course, we also saw why things might not be so well for Sipahi as well. So there we go. Moving on to the next game. Moving on to the 3rd game. Now, what we'll be having here, we'll be seeing a 4 engineer start. Yes, I mean, we really need also to show the 4 engineer start. Again, all these things are done by sort of novices. Well, this fellow's about level 10 still. So novice. Sort of. Wehrmacht Corps to start up here. 2 pioneers. He's certainly going to be getting a bit of an American surprise. But certainly, the reason you want to go for a 4 engineer start is to seize as much territory right off the bat as soon as possible. I mean, you want really to take much territory, particular munitions point. Why is that? But also fuel. Partly you want munitions to then get a lot of flamethrowers for all your engineers and then sort of really get nasty as you hit from all sides. But of course, it's also deny fuel, and of course, be able to that way, you know, get some upgrades up much swifter, perhaps even get some armored cars or Shermans. It's about, again, aggression, taking territory, getting lots of nasty things and using it against your opponent while he's sort of lagging behind. And that's also one of the reasons why, for example, I tend to go for my second unit as a shrimp mag. In that way, if I sort of spot, oh wait, something's not right here, and I see a lot of engineers, I can much better fight it. We are, of course, seeing first unit Volksgrenadier squad out for Ruinieren, continuing to fight for the 91st Luftlanding. These skirmishes continue on a larger front. Different tactics being employed here and there. But munitions point here, munitions point there. Of course, now it's really going for all of them. Fuel there. Barracks up at the edge of the base, though. Good move. Going for the next munitions point. Pioneers moving up. And setting up some barbed wire here to secure Pioneers. Engineers still rushing in with their grease guns. But Volksgunners are there to support. Cro-Magnon really needs to consider getting his troops out of there. And there we go. Nicely done. And of course, securing another munitions point. As much munitions really something you want and need with this sort of stuff, because you want flamethrowers to all of those engineers so they can become effective assault troops, you know, be really nasty when you flank. Second unit out for Ruinian. Volksgrenadiers again. He's probably this stage still not aware of what's going on. He's still not aware, of course, so he's going for the sort of usual start with units some Volksgrenadiers, shoot some Yankees. Though considering he hasn't seen some riflemen at this stage, he probably ought to start beginning to get a bit worried. The points being secured here, fuel there, victory point right in the center. Well, of course, there's just some pioneers over here. They might soon get rushed by engineers. Point here secured, lots of barbed wire, nice move. Rifle moving up. Might be shifting towards the east, of course, once you get that fuel point right there.
This is Able Company territory now.
More engineers moving up. Lots of engineers now. I mean, really, Cro-Magnon is really sort of shifting towards what he wants, which is the east. He wants that high fuel point. Pioneers in here getting caught up in the barrel factory. Firing away bravely as more troops are arriving, and there we go. I mean, be careful about fighting units inside buildings, in particular with submachine guns. They are terrible against garrison units. Terrible. And that means MP40s, grease guns, pretty much any sort of submachine gun, terrible against units garrisoned. Bike moving out though for Ruinieren, giving a bit more mobile firepower. And of course, allowing to spot him. And of course, at this stage, he's probably figuring out, oh wait, my opponent has gone for that. Shit. Oh well, feces, poo, Winnie the Pooh, whatever. Engineers here though need to get out of there. Don't stand them out in the middle of the road while Volkswagen is in a bike fire way at them. And there we go, lost. He definitely should have retreated much sooner. Rifleman taking up position there, not necessarily a bad idea. Though it's not necessarily going to get the best coverage. And of course, if the Volksgunners march up here, I mean, there's only going to be one man able to fire, in which case, not much here. Engineers now caught on their own. Cro-Magnon, you're spreading out too thin. More riflemen moving up, but they need to be quick. Come on, Cro-Magnon, man. And some more engineers will be going down right here for Cro-Magnon, if I'm not mistaken.
Losing a munitions point.
In fact, he's been perhaps forced to train some new ones, no? But at least he's getting some flamethrowers now, that is good. Sehr good, but he needs to, you know, get those riflemen moving, he needs to push on.
We got crowds here.
Ausrücken, müssen. And Ruinieren seems to be, you know, just floating resource at this stage. He hasn't trained any further units besides this, which is, you know, also considered a bit of a bad thing. He should, you know, get something soon. Might be getting a Kriegbarks, yes indeed. I mean, this is pretty rare and usually only comes about from a bit too passive American player. I mean, this sort of, you know, extreme Kriegbarks rush. I mean, he's not really expended a lot of resources into his first tier, and that's partly because Cro-Magnon has not been able to really keep up the pressure using this. I mean, usually you'd see at least 4 units, perhaps even 5. Is this really aggressive Wehrmacht player who's feeling pretty bold? But not just a bike, which is the cheapest of the sort of the tier 1 units, but just 2 Volksgrenadier forces. I mean, it's not to say it's a bad force, but it's a much more directed force, and it's not one that can really hold a lot of territory. Riflemen coming under fire again. Cover, don't stand about while, you know, under fire, taking points. This is not really looking good. Not really looking good. And this is certainly not the best execution of the 4 engineer start, and usually you do see it only really being used by much more skilled players who have sort of played a lot of games, know how to be aggressive on forehand, then can really get the most advantage of a lot of engineers with flamethrowers. But there we go, more engineers getting equipped with flamethrowers. Fuel point over here secured. Pioneers moving up, false gunners, and the bike, of course. Bike, they're going to be needing repairs, but it's already 3 kills. That's nice. Rifle in a bit of trouble. They need reinforcements from other rifles, some engineers perhaps. We're in fact seeing BARs on the way. He still hasn't moved them out of there. Come on, mate. Get your bloody feet moving. You think this is Kinder Party? Nah, yes. But mines, this is good, although usually you'd really want to mine this spot. I mean, it's a really very nice choke point. And also here, for example, here. So for a little fun there, now we have some grenadiers up for Ruinieren. Going to prove to be a bit more of a nuisance. MG moving up, finally, a bit interesting. And of course, BARs now. And of course, this sort of rush towards the Kriegbags and Grenadiers, of course, means that he, of course, can't go straight for Sturm Army, which is what some players would go in case they see BARs like this, but no. So, of course, question is, what is his next unit? If he's getting a pack, though, I'm going to say, shame on you, Ruinieren. You should cancel it and get some Grenadiers. What a half-track, and again, cover matters an awful lot. So again, stay in it. I mean, this is not good at all. So many false grenadiers and a bike, and thing about the bike, sort of imagine it as a more accurate LMG 42, which can actually hit things, but also one that doesn't really suppress, though. That's sort of its slight flaw, but I mean, it's actually reasonably effective against units out in the open. Engineers lost. Right from here, getting grenaded, not really looking good either. Again, note, windows matter. Oh, Ruinieren should have retreated his grenadiers there, although some losses, but still, they're just moving up here. Rifleman can only do so much damage that way. In with one man, fighting with a BAR, that's... Oh, come on, Ruinieren, you could have won... Oh, never mind. Mortar now up for Ruinieren. Rifleman moving up against the Pioneers in the west. But Ruinieren is still sort of managing to hold a nice part of his map. Though he's certainly also taking a bit of a beating. Mortar's now firing up, and again, be careful, do not clump up around a point. Do not be clumping up, that's usually what you consider a bad thing. And in this case, he's just about to able to get away. Pack out. I mean, usually again, where you do see BARs, you don't have to get a pack right away. Usually, I mean, I'd recommend more grenadiers or a half-track, and you really need some more grenadiers after you lost the other ones. Trier Center, good, although a medic station, I mean, with all these riflemen again, in particular when you get 5 riflemen, get a medic station, get a supply and upgrade it as soon as possible. Absolutely, I mean, with these riflemen, you're really going to see some drain on your upkeep. But there we go, Ruinieren getting a bunker. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a medic bunker. Thumbs up to that. Again, grenadiers, Männer. Otherwise, we've certainly now seen the 4 engineer start. We've also seen how things can go wrong. I mean, it's not going to be your immediate ticket towards a victory. Still, he's doing alright. He's still got sort of Ruinieren caught in a pincer, in a vice, if you will. And here he makes a mistake. I mean, he's clumping up all of his troops. He knows there's an MG42 there. He knows it. Yet he still clumps up and hits from only one angle. Those are all going to suppress. In fact, they're going to be taking more damage, because there's something called incremental accuracy, which makes it easier for the MT to hit them all. Of course, there's also the mortar. Again, a mortar, for heaven's sake, Cro-Magnon. Are you daft? And there we go, 10 minutes up. I mean, again, we saw the 4 engineer start. We saw its strengths, its weaknesses, if in particular handled by a player like this. And we also saw some other bad things, you know, you generally don't want to do. But still, I mean, he's come up to a pretty good start. Otherwise, he's holding most of the map. He's holding most of the fuel. He could be going for a tank depot right about now if he actually saves up the manpower. Of course, a medic station would also be a great start, or a supply yard. So there you go. I'll probably wait with the Americans versus Panzer League perhaps the next game, or towards the next episode, I don't know. But let's go have a look at another one. Right, this is going to be the last one. Yes, another Wehrmacht versus Americans versus Wehrmacht. I'll save one versus Panzerleague another time until I got some better replays, I think, also in that time, but I think I'd also just sort of stick to one thing more specifically, and then we sort of see how it evolves. I mean, again, if people like this, if they actually learn something, they say, I mean, this is amazing, I'll be doing more with sort of more combinations, because, I mean, you do sort of try to play differently versus the different armies. I mean, you're not going to be doing the exact same thing necessarily as the Americans versus Panzerleague, although some of them are pretty good versus both Wehrmacht and Panzerleague. But let's move on, and this is going to be a much shorter one. This is pretty much what you don't do. Now we're already seeing a lot of engineers. 3 engineers, sort of 2 on the way, 1 in the field. 4 engineers. Wehrmacht quarters up. Pioneers moving about. At the edge of the base, this is good. And moving towards sort of either side. So far, so good. But I mean, this is only going to be about 5 minutes, and you'll probably in a few minutes actually see why now he's getting 5 engineers. That's definitely perhaps going a bit over the top. I mean, you're really going to be setting yourself back there in terms of getting up a barracks, getting some troops on the ground. Instead, you'll be having 5 engineers, and while you can certainly take a lot of territory, you won't really be able to hold any of it, and that's going to set him back really by a great deal if he's not careful. Sally Kirachi not really doing too well either. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing either. But our focus here is Haniger. 4 engineers already ready. 5th team on the way. Or 5th squad going for the fuel point right there. Munitions there. You know, let's just speed this up. I mean, and this is rather an important thing, and this is certainly something I'd also like you to keep calm, because I really tend to not cast these type of games because of what I'm about to show you. Because that's usually a huge novice mistake. And there we go. Already within 2.5 minutes, he's just got a barracks, but he's not even focused on getting Waffen out there. He's setting up a machine gun emplacement. You do not build an emplacement that soon into the game, in particular not as Americans, since they cost manpower and fuel. Plus, it can easily be flanked there, and he's setting up barbed wire, which isn't going to be necessarily going to be the greatest of effort, but still, he's just doing it there. He can't really hold the rest of the map. He can't really hold any of the resources. And again, it can be hit from either side. You could move up here, hit it. Move up here, hit it. Either way, this is not good. It's a much too exposed position. I'm not saying you shouldn't get machine gun emplacements at all, but not so early into the game when you don't know what's really going on. And he's not even finishing off firing off this area. What's going on there, Haniger? And of course, a bike out from Sully. Spotting it, meaning of course it won't be as effective. He's laying down a mine there. Sort of clever, but again, once it's set off, they're just going to be rushing out and knocking it out from the rear. Again, not really good, Haniger. Not really good. And again, this is sort of a huge novice mistake. It's sort of one way I pretty much say, I'm not going to be casting this game. I mean, I know some of you, but again, it's simply such a huge and grave novice mistake. They're playing the game quite against how it's supposed to be played and really setting themselves back that I'm just not going to bother. And I know it sounds a bit harsh, but it's really the truth. And Bike got knocked out by engineers. Come on, Sully. Not really good either. You shouldn't be rushing it right up to there and not move it at all. Rather moving up, but again, a pretty poor start. Much too passive again, and when you're an American, you need to be aggressive. And again, that's why you shouldn't be building an emplacement this early on, because you're handing over the initiative. You should be aggressive. You should be attacking. Though clearly, Sally Karachi is not attacking either. And there we go. I mean, this is sort of the first Monday Novice fight where I tried something as different as this. And again, I have no idea how people are going to receive this or if it's good. I mean, again, constructive criticism is great, so let me know. Did this work for you? Why did it? Why didn't it? Of course, what would you like to see for the next one if you like this one in the first place? So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? In the meanwhile, I'll be trying to figure out if this was any good. Cheers!